Acting U.S. Secretary of Labor Julie Su was in New Rochelle on October 10th for a panel discussion and meeting with workers served by the National Day Laborer Organizing Network and other organizations that took place at the United Community Center of Westchester.
For us as Endelon and the organization member for Endelon, this is like a really good event. It is something for we waiting for long time, and finally she is so flexible with us, and she is this afternoon, and she is so humble, and we are so happy to have her in New Rochelle.
So excited to be here with Endelon, the National Day Labor Organizing Network, and other organizations from New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut who serve workers. It's great to listen to the experiences of workers, health and safety violations that take place on a regular basis, wage theft that they endure, and the ways that workers are organizing to demand safer and better working conditions, and what we can do as a department to assist them.
Is it fairly common for the Department of Labor to reach out, to actually go out to various communities and talk with workers as you've done today?
So this president has been very clear that he intends to be the most pro-worker president in history. And that means coming to where workers are, hearing about their experiences, hearing about their struggles, and making sure that we are hearing, seeing, and serving the most vulnerable workers in our economy.
What should people take away from the statistics that your department puts out every week?
So the jobs report from last month was good news. It demonstrates continued job growth in this economy. So since President Biden came to office, 13.9 million jobs have been created. At the same time that we have record low levels of unemployment, right? Unemployment has been under 4% for over a year and a half, the longest stretch since the 1960s. This is not by accident. This is very much a deliberate part of Bidenomics, of creating an economy in which, from the middle out and the bottom up, in which no one gets left behind, creating good jobs in every community through historic investments. And we are happy that the economy continues to demonstrate such resilience and strength and continued really stable growth.
We've seen some strikes, and we've seen some strikes settled. Where does the administration, and particularly your department, fit into a situation where perhaps there's labor unrest or dissatisfaction? What can you do as the Department of Labor to help resolve issues?
Well, part of being the most pro-union and pro-worker administration in history has been about adopting economic policies that have resulted in a tight labor market. That means that workers have more power. They have more power to change jobs for better jobs. And unions have more power at the bargaining table to demand things like wage increases, retirement security, no forced overtime, as well as better safety conditions. I think that that's something that every single worker should enjoy. So this president has been very clear that he supports unionization and the right of workers to join a union if they wish, as well as values the collective bargaining process. Sometimes that process is messy. Sometimes that process is long, and part of that process includes the ability of workers to strike when they need to in order to get a fair contract. So we think that these are all things that are resulting in stronger, more inclusive conditions for working people across the country. That's part of the reason I was here in New Rochelle, to hear from workers who are continuing to fight for that.
And what about migrant workers, day laborers? Where do they fit into the labor picture in the country right now? I know the administration has recently made it easier for Venezuelan migrants to obtain the necessary documents so that they can work legally. Where does that fit in?
That's right. So President Biden has called for comprehensive immigration reform. He can't do that on his own. That's something that we continue to push Congress to do. In the meantime, though, we want to be very clear that no worker checks their humanity at the border. Every worker has rights, regardless of their immigration status, and immigration should not be weaponized against them. It should not be used to sow fear and tell workers that they have to endure whatever illegal practices are thrown at them. Part of the recent effort was to make sure that workers who do have the ability to get work authorization know that they have that and help and get help getting it. This is part of just a broader approach where we believe that every worker should know that they have rights and that when they stand up to defend them, that they can do so free from retaliation.